if you've been relying on your Social Security payments to arrive like clockwork every month. What I'm about to share with you could completely change how you receive your benefits starting very soon. The Social Security Administration has just confirmed a major shift in how they're handling bank deposits, and this change is going to impact millions of Americans who depend on these payments for their daily expenses, rent, groceries, and essential bills. Are you prepared for what's coming? Do you even know if this change will affect your specific payment method? Most people have no idea this is happening right now, and that's exactly why you need to watch this entire video before your next payment date arrives. Before we dive deep into these critical changes that could affect your financial security, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss updates about Social Security benefits, policy changes, and important financial information that directly impacts your monthly income. Trust me, you don't want to be caught off guard by these developments. The Social Security Administration has been quietly implementing new procedures for direct deposit payments, and these changes are rolling out in phases across different regions of the country. What does this mean for you as a beneficiary? It means the way your money gets from the federal government into your bank account is being completely restructured, and depending on where you live and which financial institution you use, you might experience delays, require new paperwork, or even need to update your banking information entirely. Here's what's particularly concerning about this situation. The SSA has been working with the Treasury Department to modernize their payment systems, which sounds great in theory, but the reality is that anytime government agencies make major technological upgrades, there's always a transition period where things can go wrong. We've seen this before with other federal programs, where beneficiaries suddenly found their payments delayed, sent to the wrong accounts, or temporarily suspended while the new systems were being implemented and tested. The most significant aspect of this change involves something called the Automated Clearinghouse System, which is the electronic network that processes your direct deposits. The SSA is transitioning to a new version of this system that's supposed to be more secure and efficient, but it requires all financial institutions to update their receiving protocols. What this means in practical terms is that your bank or credit union needs to be compatible with these new transmission methods, and not every institution has completed this upgrade process yet. Are you wondering if your bank is ready for these changes? Have you received any communication from your financial institution about updating your direct deposit information? Many beneficiaries are reporting that they haven't heard anything from either the SSA or their banks about these modifications, which is creating a lot of confusion and anxiety about whether their next payment will arrive on time and in the correct account. The timeline for these changes is particularly tight, and this is where things get really concerning for people who depend on their Social Security income. The SSA has indicated that the full implementation will be completed over the next several months, but different payment categories are being transitioned at different times. Retirement benefits, disability payments, and supplemental security income all have separate rollout schedules, which means you need to know exactly which type of benefits you receive to understand when your payments might be affected. What makes this situation even more complicated is that the SSA's communication about these changes has been inconsistent across different regions. Some beneficiaries are receiving detailed letters explaining exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it, while others have received vague notices that don't provide clear instructions about whether any action is required on their part. This inconsistency is creating a lot of uncertainty, especially for elderly beneficiaries who may not be comfortable navigating complex banking procedures or understanding technical terminology about electronic payment systems. The security aspect of these changes is something the SSA is emphasizing heavily, and they're positioning this transition as a way to protect beneficiaries from fraud and identity theft. The new system includes additional verification steps and enhanced encryption protocols that are designed to make it much harder for scammers to intercept or redirect Social Security payments. However, these enhanced security measures also mean that the payment process is becoming more complex, with additional authentication requirements that could potentially cause delays if there are any discrepancies in your banking information or personal details on file with the SSA. Here's something that many people don't realize about this transition. If you currently receive your Social Security payments through direct deposit, you might need to verify your banking information even if nothing has changed on your end. The new system requires updated authorization codes from your financial institution, and these codes might be different from what the SSA currently has in their records. This means you could potentially need to contact your bank to obtain new routing numbers or account verification documents, even though your actual account details haven't changed. For beneficiaries who use smaller community banks or credit unions, this transition could be particularly challenging. While major national banks have been working closely with the Treasury Department to ensure smooth implementation of the new system, smaller financial institutions might not have the same resources or technical infrastructure to handle the transition seamlessly. Are you banking with a smaller institution? Have you considered what might happen if there are compatibility issues between your bank's systems and the SSA's new payment protocols? The potential for payment disruptions during this transition period is something that every beneficiary needs to take seriously and plan for accordingly. Even if everything goes smoothly with the technical implementation, there's always the possibility of temporary delays while banks and the SSA work through any unexpected issues that arise. This is why financial experts are recommending that Social Security beneficiaries maintain some emergency savings if possible, even if it's just enough to cover a few days of essential expenses in case there are any hiccups with payment timing. What's particularly frustrating for many beneficiaries is that the SSA hasn't provided clear guidance about what to do if problems occur during the transition. If your payment doesn't arrive on your expected date, how long should you wait before contacting the SSA? What documentation will you need to provide if there are issues with your direct deposit? These are critical questions that affect millions of people's financial security, yet the answers aren't readily available through the SSA's standard communication channels. The ripple effects of these changes extend beyond just the direct deposit process itself. Many beneficiaries have automatic bill payments, rent payments, and other essential expenses that are timed around their Social Security payment dates. If the transition causes even short delays in payment delivery, it could create a cascade of financial problems including late fees, overdraft charges, and missed payments that could affect credit scores. Have you thought about how a delayed Social Security payment might impact your other financial obligations? Another aspect of this transition that's causing concern is the potential for increased phishing attempts and fraud schemes targeting Social Security beneficiaries. Scammers are already taking advantage of the confusion surrounding these changes by sending fake notices that ask beneficiaries to provide banking information or personal details supposedly needed for the transition. The real SSA will never ask you to provide sensitive information through email, text messages, or unsolicited phone calls. But the legitimate confusion about these payment system changes is making it easier for criminals to trick vulnerable beneficiaries. Moving forward, there are several proactive steps that every Social Security beneficiary should take to protect themselves during this transition period. First, contact your bank directly to confirm that they're ready for the SSA's new payment system and ask if you need to update any information on your account. Second, make sure the SSA has your current contact information so you'll receive any important notices about changes that affect your specific payments. Third, monitor your bank account closely around your usual payment dates to ensure your deposits are arriving as expected. The long-term implications of these changes are likely to be positive for beneficiaries, with improved security and more reliable payment processing once the transition is fully complete. However, the short-term challenges during the implementation period require careful attention and preparation from every person who receives Social Security benefits. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and don't hesitate to contact both your bank and the SSA if you have any concerns about your payments during this transition. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel because I'll be providing regular updates about these Social Security changes as more information becomes available. Drop a comment below if you've already received any notices about these payment system changes or if you have questions about how this might affect your specific situation. Your next Social Security payment could be the first one processed through this new system, so make sure you're prepared for whatever changes might come your way.